microphone closer. So like I'm too far away. There you go.
Just saw Peyton Manning doing something on TV, but I'm not sure what.
What's that?
He's like, they're doing like a broadcast of like some Monday night game, Peyton Manning and Eli, but Peyton was standing up, like talking about a play. So I have no idea what he was doing.
Peyton Manning can't even turn his head around no more, can he? Got to turn around like this. That messed up neck.
Yeah. Brother was making fun of him because he lifted up his arms and there were like pit stains on his shoulders.
I tell you what though, the brother that was injured years ago, his son, man, he is like that. He played quarterback down in Louisiana. Ooh, man, that dude is like that. I think his name is Arch. It's like their father.
Oh really? There's another one?
About to be another man in quarterback in the NFL. It looks like.
That's pretty crazy.
Like, damn, I just want to get a kid through high school. They got 4 kids. They're about to have what? 4 people in the NFL? Jesus.
Yeah. There's like another brother too. But he didn't make it to the NFL.
Yeah, I think it's his son is the one that's playing quarterback now in high school.
Oh, okay.
That's the one that's doing the thing.
The wide receiver guy.
Yeah. I forget his name.
Sports on the Hill podcast.
Cooper. I think his name is Cooper.
Yeah,
Man.
that's right.
Sports without the politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, he had like some neck problem. Otherwise, he'd probably be in the NFL.
Yeah, they said that he was a speed.
That's
I think
right.
He had, like,
It's
a degenerative
Monday
neck
night.
issue.
Sports on the Hill podcast, True Radio Network, coming to you live from the lab. As you can see and you can hear, we got Paul the boxing guy. We got Arun B on. If you heard during the intro, they was talking about all different types of sports. They didn't know they were getting picked up, but that's another thing I forgot to fill them in on. But welcome back, Sports on the Hill podcast, episode 242. Washington football team with an ugly, embarrassing loss. We got some Nationals talk. They're actually playing now against Colorado. I think the second inning just ended. It's still tied 0-0. They had a 3-4 week. This is the last week of the baseball season. Well, for the Nats baseball season. Postseason is right around the corner. So we'll talk a little bit of Nats and break down what's next for them. And you know we got Paul the boxing guy on, so you know we got some boxing coverage at the end of the show. Let's break down some of the fights. Yeah, into the fights that this past weekend. So we got a full show. We're gonna try to get in about an hour and a half because I done had a long day and did 3 shows yesterday after that ugly game and pregame and postgame. So we're definitely gonna get into that. Rune, how you doing tonight? Appreciate you joining us. You know, we got Robbie on paternity leave and Brian feeling under the weather. Brian, get well soon. And we got you on tonight. How you feeling tonight, sir?
Not bad. Kind of a little bit disappointed after the game yesterday. I thought it would be closer, but it is what it is, and hopefully they play better going forward.
Yeah, I mean, we all had it as a loss, but I was hoping it wouldn't get that ugly. And what sucked is in my pick'em, I decided to be a homer and went with the Washington football team. I was in first place with a 1-game lead. Now I'm in second place because yesterday was just crazy in the NFL with some of the outcomes. But I had it as a loss, but you know I was hoping that they might be able to pull off something up there. But after I heard the stat that they hadn't won in Buffalo since 1987, I should have switched my pick, but I didn't take heed to that advice. Paul the boxing guy, what's going on, man? We finally got you on screen. You went through the pandemic hiatus and turned into the wolf man. Now you back in human form. How you doing tonight, sir?
Hey, I was looking like Teen Wolf for about a year. I said, man, look, let me hide. Every time you ask me, can you come on Zoom? I say, can I hide my face? So I got the fresh one. I said, I may as well take advantage of it. So doing pretty good, man. It's good to be on. And much like you, Carl, in the pick'em, I'm a career 70%er. But I chose to be a homer this week myself, so I'm probably more like a 60%er. And to top it off in the fantasy league, I tried to get cute and sign the old running back wide receiver combo player from Cleveland since Jarvis Landry went down, and he got me 0.1 points. And you know, sometimes it's just stick with your gut, man. Stick with your gut.
No doubt, that's what I definitely should have did. Because now I'm in second place, and rooting on the damn Cowgirls to beat the Eagles tonight. I still can't wrap my head around that. But let's go ahead and get into this ugly game that we saw yesterday. My quick take is, like I said, it was a measuring stick, like Coach said. After I went in my pregame, looking at the Buffalo's offensive numbers and looking at where the Washington football team was, it looked like it was going to be an ugly game. And I said if they didn't dictate the pace, run the ball, offense come out, not taking to the second quarter to get going or getting down 7 to 10 or 14 points. And unfortunately, all the keys of victory that I went over yesterday is like the team did the total opposite. Bad game plan offensively and defensively. No adjustments were made after they made adjustments to what we were doing when they, were able to come back and get within a touchdown. But turnovers was it was the wrong game to have turnovers. It was a windy day, so I'm not sure why Scott Turner was so dead set on passing the ball instead of giving the ball to Antonio Gibson. And then when he did throw the screen to him, he broke it for a 73-yard touchdown. Feed feed your guy. You don't have to have Heineke throwing the ball all the time, especially on a windy day. Going against the wind. It was just some bad play calls, bad game plan, and it was just 43 to 21 pretty much says it all. Stats for the game. Heineke. Oh no, that's the wrong one. I'm sorry. Will be stats from before the game yesterday. Those are no good to look at now. As I said, 43 to 21 Washington now since 1 and 2. Heineke went 14 for 24, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions with an 80.6 quarterback rating. Josh Allen went 32 for 43 for 358 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, no interceptions with a 129.8 quarterback rating. Antonio Gibson only had to carry the ball 12 times, 31 yards with a 2.6 yard average and no touchdowns. The last 2 weeks combined, he's only had 25 touches. He should be getting that a game, not every 2 games. Zach Moss for Buffalo had 13 carries, 60 yards with a 4.6 yard average and a receiving touchdown. Logan Thomas had 4 catches, 42 yards, a touchdown, and that costly fumble. Terry McLaurin was kind of held in check. 4 catches for 62 yards, no touchdowns, and Antonio Gibson, as I mentioned, had the 1 catch for 73 yards and a touchdown. Emmanuel Sanders killed the secondary. Kendall Fuller, in particular, he had 6 catches for 94 yards with an 18.8 yard average and 2 touchdowns. Beasley, who used to have good games when he was with the Cowboys, tied a career high with 11 catches for 98 yards, no touchdowns. Excuse me, Stephon Diggs was pretty much held in check with 6 catches for 62 yards, no touchdowns. So, it was just bad. The room, before I go any further, before I go into a diatribe, the room, what was your synopsis of this game? We said, it pretty much would be a loss. We didn't want to see it get this ugly, but how do you critique some of the things that was going on? Where do you see some of the issues lie with this offense right now? Is it play calling, or is it the players? Is it the lack of Samuel being out there? What do you think is going on with the offense?
Yeah, definitely the run game didn't really get going, as you said. Gibson, he had 12 carries, but only 31 yards. McKissick actually got a couple good runs, 3 carries for 23 yards, which is pretty good. But Heineke, a couple of his passes were kind of like he glued on one of his receivers for that interception. And I thought they actually, after that special teams accidental onside kick, and they scored a touchdown, I thought this would actually be a much closer game. But Allen, they didn't get really that much pressure on him. Like, even on those big throws, he was a second away from potentially being hit on one of those plays, but there were bombs to Emmanuel Sanders. And speaking of fantasy, I left him on my bench, which was pretty dumb. But
I left Zach Moss on mine.
Yeah, I tried to pick him up, but somebody picked him up before I did. So I don't even want to talk about fantasy football. Two of my players got injured in the first quarter, and Lamar Jackson didn't have the game I thought he was going to have. That's all I need to say.
yeah, it's just like overall, like Allen was doing whatever he wanted to do. I thought like with a longer week, I thought they'd be angry. The defense would be angry coming off that Giants performance where they weren't that good. It was a short week, but this game they had a lot more time to prepare. But as you guys have mentioned, Buffalo's like they're much better team. They've been building a good team for a long time. So hopefully Washington can get there and they can learn from this game.
That's definitely the recipe. Because Buffalo, was going through their issues, and McDermott, the coach, who actually was under Barrera, he took over the team, and now they're a Super Bowl contender. They build it the right way, and Coach Barrera is hoping to do the same thing with this team. And as I mentioned yesterday, Daryl Johnston made a very valid point that they won the division, but it was a 7-9 team. So now they're going up against first place teams, and now you're seeing some of the deficits that they were able to get over with in the NFC East by winning the division, but there's still some things that need to get worked on. Paul, what do you say from what you saw offensively from this team?
Man, first, I hate to rehash the draft because I was vocal in the draft about the offense needing weapons. I didn't want them to trade up. I knew Devontae Smith wasn't going to be available. So I wanted De'Ami Brown. They got him. And I was happy they got him. They needed speed, somebody that could run decent routes and learn. And they brought in Curtis Samuel, which is, new to system, speedy guy, kind of utility guy on offense. You can give him the ball off the backfield. He burned us last year, when they played Carolina. But, I still have not forgotten that Washington skipped on Najee Harris twice when they could have had a bigger back, 5'11", 220, to complement Gibson. Every single time, you can't keep depending on you got two of the same running backs, Gibson and McKissic. Now, that's not a slight against Gibson. I'm just saying similarly usable running back. If Gibson isn't getting it between the tackles, say, okay, you throw the screen at him. But then you make yourself one-dimensional then. So you know that, okay, we don't really got to worry about him running the ball between the tackles. He might go out on a toss or screen or something like that, or But other than that, they don't really have much else. They have the speed. They have given Logan Thomas, former quarterback, had a career year last year, had a touchdown. But at the same time, they have no veterans. The whole team has no veterans. And I know we talk about offense, and I'm going to get into the defense later because I actually got a lot more to say about the defense. But what's funny is I'm not really down on this team like a lot of people are for the very reason I just said a second ago. They are young. And I think as the season goes on, we're going to start to see a little more consistency. Hopefully, whether it be with Heineke or Fitzpatrick, hopefully we're not in the situation signing guys off the street like last year. I just feel like this team is not losing because of the offense, which is different than last year when I felt they were losing because of the offense. So I'm not as worried, especially with Buffalo. Buffalo, didn't they just win 35-0 last week?
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like this is a story, and it's breaking down into a story of two coordinators that really need to start feeling the heat. Scott Turner and Jack Del Rio. And when we get to the defense, I'm gonna kind of elaborate a little bit more on why I say that about Del Rio.
Oh, no doubt. You already know. But with Turner, he's I'm starting to feel the same way I felt when Gruden was here, when he was calling the plays. It's like he wants to continue to throw the ball instead of going with fundamental football, time of possession, which they've lost every game this year. Control the line of scrimmage and let your line run block instead of pass block, which they, linemen enjoy run blocking more than pass blocking. And, dictate the pace of the game. Gibson had the first game. They gave him 20 touches, 90 yards. He had the fumble. Last week he only had 13 carries, but still had over 60, almost 70 yards with a 5.8 yard average. This week got the ball 12 times for 31 yards, and you have to, against a team with a good defense, just like a good line like they have also had a front four that was all first round picks also. So you got to run the ball, and McClissick did get in there and run the ball because they were talking about that during the broadcast. That when they see McClissick, they know it's pretty much a passing play, so that's what they were giving him the runs, and he was getting some decent yardage. But they went away from that, and like I said, the Logan Thomas fumble really swung the momentum because it was 7-0. He made a good play, was trying to fight for extra yards. Boom, turnover. They go down to score, and boom, Heineke throws the interception the next drive. Boom, another touchdown. You down 21-0. So they shouldn't have had Heineke, throwing the ball that much that early. And his play calling has to get better. Samuel, when he gets there, gets healthy, things might change. He's eligible to play this game because it'll be 3 weeks on the IR, and they have up to another 3 weeks to get him on the field. Coach said they're going to see how he looks on Wednesday. So, but you have to play to your team's strengths, and you have to give the team a chance to win, which I mentioned in the pregame, that you have to game plan. You have to have a good game plan to put these guys in a position to win. When you finally did throw the running back screen instead of the tight end screen that he loves to call all the damn time, you see him break up for 73 yards. And we didn't see it again for the rest of the game. That's why I say I feel like I'm watching Jay Gruden again, because you'll have a play that works, and you never see it again in the game. We mentioned that last week on the show. So it's like with him, he's trying to be too fancy or trying to outthink the game. And sometimes you just got to go back to basics. And that's what we talked about with these so-called genius offensive coordinators. They want to try to reinvent the game. And sometimes you just got to go with the fundamentals and do what needs to be done. So,
it was like with Gruden. The thing that I said this the other week, the thing that used to make me so angry was, and I said this, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe, no, it was last week. Like you said about the tight end screen, under Gruden, I'm so sick of these damn wide receiver screens and these bubble screens. I'm sick of it. And it's like, if that's all you got, and you had extra time to, now obviously they didn't rely on wide receiver screens this time, but again, like you said about the game plan, you in windy conditions, you playing against a squad with a dominant defense, you got a quarterback who's way inexperienced. You got to put your players in position to succeed. And it's almost like they just felt like they had Peyton Manning out there who can just improvise on the fly and make the adjustments he needs. But Heineke ain't that. So I don't really know what Scott Turner was thinking. It's almost like I compare it to in the NFL draft when you get these general managers sometimes. They got to be the smartest guy in the room, and it's a player that they know they really should pick, but they want to throw a curveball and get somebody else because they know it all, and ends up being flopped. And it's just like sometimes you just gotta just coach, man. It's not rocket. Of course it's it's professional, but it's not rocket science. Stop, like you said, Carol, trying to reinvent the wheel. Make a game plan for your players to succeed. Know what you got. Know what you're missing, like Curtis Samuel, and go from there.
Yeah, like I said, Turner's still learning on the job. It's only his second year full-time offensive coordinator. But Coach has to sit down and talk to him along with Del Rio, which we're about to get into the defense. But definitely, he said he didn't have a problem with the play call. I don't know if he's just saying that because he doesn't want to say nothing in the media and, stir more pot with the DC sports media. And I actually heard some commentators on the radio say they didn't have a problem with his play call. And I'm sitting there like, are y'all smoking crack during these games? Because some of these play calls, you're just scratching your head like, why would you do that? Why are you in shotgun on 3rd and 1? Sometimes you just need to, get it back in there and run the ball. And, it's frustrating, but, it is what it is. We just got to let him grow and hopefully start to see what he needs to do and the light will finally click on. Last year, so the same thing, starting out slow offensively and defensively. And like you said, during the year, they got better and improved. Last year, the schedule wasn't as tough. This year, they have after this game coming up, they have a gauntlet, and
I got Mahomes.
yeah, you got Rodgers, you got it's about to get ugly. So they definitely don't have any time to play around and definitely need to get their act together because if not, the season's going to turn ugly very quickly, very quickly. And defensively, uh, I said yesterday on my post game, I don't know what Del Rio's thought process is. I'm thinking that they're overcomplicating things and need to simplify because that's what they did last year when they was starting out rough. They said they simplified things and that's when things started to click. I think they're pressing, trying to make things happen. Teams are, if you watch the first three games, you see that they're quick throwing. They're doing 3 and 5 step drops, crossing plays, misdirection plays, stuff that's quick hitting, so the defensive line doesn't have a chance to get to the quarterback. And when they do get pressure, the quarterbacks have been mobile enough to be able to get away because it's only a 4-man rush. For some reason, Del Rio doesn't want to send blitzers, but then wants to sit in zone. I'm like, if you're going to rush 4, why are you playing zone? You should be playing man. And if you're going to run zone, why aren't you blitzing more to send more pressure? And not just from the outside. You got to send pressure up the gut. Going to the outside is cool, but they're chipping and had a running back going in the flat, bumping the guys that's taking them off to the for the pass rush. So I'm just thinking that Del Rio has to come up with an answer for the quick pass. He even has to decide to start bringing more pressure with blitzes and letting the guys then play zone on the backside. Or you got to look at these corners. William Jackson is a man corner. Kendall Fuller, I don't know what's going on with him because he's been getting torched every game of the season. And St. Juice is a rookie. He's learning on the job. He's going to make mistakes, but he's improving week by week. That's what you expect from your rookies, and that's what you want from your rookies. So I think, like you said, it's not talent. It's coaching, and it's game planning, and it's strategy. And if you look on the other side of the ball with Buffalo yesterday, they kept the defense off balance because they was running so many different things, and they was doing screens and doing quick hitting plays and doing misdirection. It's like he doesn't want to do some of those things when other teams' defenses are going to be keyed on trying to stop your offense because it hasn't really been going well, and the defense hasn't been doing. They get the momentum, they get the score, they know that the team is going to start pressing. Then you're going to change your game plan. And you're going to start trying to air the ball out instead of using the game plan that you set up for. So it's all I know is they got to get it together. Arun, what did you think is wrong with the defense, and what needs to happen? Is it game planning? Is it coaching? Is it players? What do you think it is?
I think, like you mentioned, they're only getting the pass rush, like if they send the blitz, but the 4-man front, like they're not injured. They're just not generating the pass rush right now. And at times they got really close to like getting to Allen, but getting close isn't good enough. You have to put contact on him. And William Jackson, he keeps getting pass interference calls. Like, I don't know if that's the last game against the Giants that happened. This game, it also happened. And even the Giants, like, they torched, like, the Washington defense relatively, and the Falcons, they beat the Giants. They held them under 20 points. I think the defense overall can be better. Davis, he's been playing well. And he was key on that 4th down play that they stopped, but it's just overall giving up 42 points. You're going to have to, I think, like, you're going to have to throw the ball more because of that. Like, I think overall, I think the most, like, points we're expecting Washington to score going into this one is, like, 28, given how good the Bills' defense is. And while they were set up by that special teams touchdown, I think the defense needs to be a lot better, and I agree. Del Rio, his play calling is off. I don't know, the defensive front was generating pressure in Pittsburgh last year when they beat the undefeated Steelers. It hasn't looked the same this year. It could be because there was limited preseason, and hopefully they get better quickly.
Well, I mean, last year there was no preseason, so that was the reason why I thought they started out to a slow start. And after 4 games, they started getting it together. This year they had preseason, so I mean, the defense, like I said, teams are quick throwing. They're no longer, they were never a secret, but now they saw how good the front could be, and now teams are doing things to mitigate that pressure they were getting. quick throwing, screens and stuff like that to try to use their aggressiveness against them trying to get to the quarterback. They've been pretty effective in the run game. So I mean they've been holding teams around 80, 90 yards. So I mean they're doing their job in the run game. It's just the pass game there with them running that soft zone, the quarterback has time to pick it apart because they're only rushing four, and you got five backs. Sometimes you leave the running back in or the tight end, the chip, and the quarterback has all day. And you're going against elite quarterbacks now, not the teams that they played last year. So you're going against top competition that can sit back there and pick a defense apart if you're not getting pressure, making them get off of their spot. And Allen is a mobile quarterback. He had one rushing touchdown, but they pretty much kept him in the pocket. He didn't really hurt him too bad with his feet because he was killing them through the air. But it's just I think they just need to simplify things and go back to basics. I mean, tackling there's been some missed tackles earlier. It was a couple yesterday, so it's been getting better. It hasn't been as much, but it's just like they're always too open. There's always wide receivers running free. I mean, with Jackson, the times where he didn't got burnt for some reason, the safety help that was supposed to be over the top wasn't over the top. You can tell by the way he was playing outside leverage, thinking he had help on the inside. So it's a lot of miscommunication going on. I hear a lot of folks complaining about Landon Collins. I haven't keyed in on him to really watch and see, what he's been doing or what he hasn't been doing. But as a whole, the defense has to play better. They have to communicate, have to work as one unit. And right now, they're not doing that. And, folks talk about Chase Young, not having any sacks, I don't know. We got to figure it out, Paul. What do you say about the defense?
Man, the thing is, with this squad, they really didn't lose anybody, right? They added a rookie middle linebacker. They didn't just forget how to play. So obvious to me is something wrong with the coaching. Now here's what I was kind of alluding to earlier, right? Jack Del Rio. Y'all touched on it already. I don't know what the issue is, or if he's being too vanilla, or if he's trying to do too much. They keep sending these just four-man front. They don't send it. They don't get creative with their blitz packages, if at all. I've been hard on Landon Collins, but some of me is starting to wonder, as a strong safety, is he not giving the help adequately up top? Or is he biting too much on the running back, the underneath route? Is he starting to kind of peek too much back there because he feels as though, damn, man, for some reason, these tackles we got, I can't take up space. For some reason, our linebackers can't stop the running back. The running back continuously get to the next level. I'm starting to look at Collins and wonder, is he kind of peeking back there because he feels as though he got to make a stop? I mean, he had 5 tackles, I think, yesterday. The sign is you never want to see your free or strong safety with that many tackles unless you're doing safety blitzes or you playing your safety up close, things like that, or you playing, old school, 46 or something like that. But I just feel like the issue is, and I like Davis, but the thing that Washington had last year that they don't have this year on defense, especially at middle linebacker, and I don't think a lot of people understand how important an experienced middle linebacker is, especially around Rivera. They had Thomas Davis last year. Thomas Davis was, even though he didn't get a lot of playing time, Thomas Davis is legendary at his football IQ. Remember the old video of Thomas Davis telling Dwayne Haskins in training camp, hey, man, you staring me down. If you do that, I'm going to take you off. And Dwayne Haskins said in response, I know what I'm doing. Like, damn, Thomas Davis been in the league 16 years. We met Thomas Davis down here. He said, all right, man. So I feel like not having him around, that kind of hurts. But at the same time, Davis now has to learn on the job, on the fly. Of course, we got some athletes at the edge. We got Sweat. We got Chase Young. I understand, our D tackles are big. They're supposed to take up space. I know, they're kind of big, but at the same time, it's like, are they considering, moving Sweat and Chase Young around, stunting them inside, sending creative blitz packages, stop rushing 4, maybe send an actual blitz, I don't understand it. And then the thing that blows me too is you got the rookie out there, and for some reason, like you said a minute ago, Carol, they're rushing 4, but they playing zone, but they keep getting beat over the top. I don't understand that. Now I understand if you're getting beat on little, posts or a little underneath route here and there, because obviously if you're playing the zone, you ain't got no pressure. You can get open, but to play a zone and you getting beat over the top with rushing 4, I just don't get that. And I'm looking at Del Rio like, Slim, what's going on? Is it Del Rio or is it Landon Collins? Because just like I said about the defense, they couldn't have forgot how to play football. Even though Landon Collins might not have been what we thought he was last year, as much as we thought he was going to be, the dude was a beast in New York. So I'm kind of looking at Del Rio as the odd man out here. And I also feel too, I don't want to ramble, but I think when Davis gets more experience, because I read an article today where he said he lined up, and he lined up in the wrong, and it took the wrong gap because he took a gap that he's assigned to take when he was in Kentucky. So he said sometimes he gets confused between his assignments in Washington versus his assignments in Kentucky, where he had to do more. Now, okay, he's young. And I like the guy. I think he's going to be a good player, but I feel the more he gets comfortable when he can actually begin to quarterback the defense, like Luke Kuechly, like Thomas Davis, like Van Morgan, like John Beeson, all of them guys in Carolina did under Ron Rivera. I feel like that's when you can finally start seeing those proper adjustments being made up front and seeing that defensive line start to generate pressure, start to see blitzes, start to see audibles, and sometimes maybe dropping Chase Young back in coverage or just anything. But at the same time, third game in, he's not going to have that freedom. He got to demonstrate that trust. But will Jack Del Rio even give him that ability?
No, I mean he was only a 1-year starter, so that's where they probably trying to give him ease him into it because he has the athletic ability, but he still has to learn how to play that role. So they're moving him in slowly. A lot of folks complaining about Bostic and being in coverage, and that's why they got Davis. But like you said, he has to learn the defense and know the defense and not get confused. So it's going to be a process. But like you said, Del Rio definitely. He has to figure something out because I've been looking at his game plans and the things he's been calling and doing, and it makes no sense to me. I know they want to get pressure with just a 4, but if it's not working, it's time to switch something up. Can't keep on doing the same thing, expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. I know we're a little crazy.
They got the whole league has a whole year of footage. What do they always say? Like when Robert Griffin, Lamar Jackson, even though he has kind of been the difference, they always say, you give a league a few games or a year take, they'll figure you out. So, and now it's on Del Rio to make those adjustments. They know Washington has that speed and those big boys up front. They know that. They know that Davis is young. And like I said, I like him. I think he's going to be a hell of a player. But like you said, he's inexperienced, and that's why I brought up the lack of a guy like Thomas Davis. This is a extremely young team. And I kind of feel like they neglected maybe bringing in that old guy that might not get but a couple plays a game every so often. People don't really, look, let me give an example. Robert Parrish won a championship with the Bulls. You know what I'm saying? Moses Malone won a championship with the Spurs and David Robinson, right? Sometimes you need them old guys that might not get much time to kind of, school them. Because you need that leadership. Who is Damon Davis going to go to learn the nuances of that middle linebacker position, which is a very difficult position to learn on the fly?
Yeah, well, Coach kept on saying they was going to think about signing a veteran linebacker to add to the core, and they re-signed Mayo, brought him back in, but they really, like I said, they really don't have any real veteran presence in that linebacker core, so they're probably definitely playing a role in it also. They're very young on the defensive side, and especially at the linebacker position, so all we can do is hope and pray that they figure it out in this week of practice, because like I said, they had 11 days to prepare for Buffalo, and granted Buffalo is a Super Bowl contender, but that offense hadn't got clicking until they played the Washington football team yesterday. Just to go over some of the team stats, Buffalo had 29 first downs. They were 9 for 15 on third down conversions. had 122 yards rushing, 359 yards passing, a total of 481 yards, and they had the ball for 35 minutes and 37 seconds. Washington only had 12 first downs. They were 2 for 11 on third downs. They had 79 rushing yards, 212 pass yards for a total of 291 yards. Time of possession, 24 minutes and 23 seconds. Excuse me. That's almost a whole quarter. That's utterly ridiculous. Last week it wasn't as bad. It was like a 4 or 5 minute difference. They won the game, but the first game against the Chargers, it was almost a 7-8 minute disparity. And that wears on your defense also. That doesn't help your defense. That wears them down. That's why I say you got to control the time of possession. You got to run the ball on offense. Because my thing is, you look on the other sideline and see what they're doing to our defense. And the light doesn't come on and say, maybe I should try doing some of that too. It just boggles my mind that that thought process doesn't cross their mind when they see what's going on the field. Arun, we got us next week against the Falcons. You mentioned that they beat the Giants, and I held them in check pretty much. What do you see coming up with this upcoming game with this Falcons team?
Yeah, this Falcons team is not as explosive as it used to be. They did draft the tight end Kyle Pitts, but they traded Julio Jones, and they really haven't gotten out to the big playability that they used to get to. But if you keep the game close like the Giants did again for the second consecutive week, they can come and bite you because Matt Ryan has the experience to lead a drive down the field, and I think Washington's defense will have an easier job dealing with the Falcons than the Bills, but we'll see what happens on Sunday, because also the Falcons defense did a much better job slowing down the Giants than Washington did. So I think Washington can. I had them winning this game going into the year. I'll think about that a little bit more, but we'll see what happens because Matt Ryan and Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is a young guy, and he looks like he's getting better as the season progresses. Calvin Ridley's a good receiver. And Russell Gage, he hasn't gotten it going, but maybe if Washington plays defense like it did this past Sunday, then who knows? So Washington can win this game. Hopefully they can step up and take care of business.
I agree. I can't argue anything you say. Paul, what do you think is coming up with this Falcons team?
Man, look, going into the season, the Falcons supposed to be a defense that's supposed to be able to be lit up, taken advantage of. You know, when it comes to Washington, I always feel like this, and I've been feeling like this for years as a long-suffering fan. All the expectations should go out the window. Now, I'm going to say this. I feel like Atlanta is going to blow out Washington. I think it's going to be worse. Well, I don't know if they're going to score 40-something points, but I think it's going to be a more dominating performance on offense. Here's the reason why. One, Patterson has found his niche in Atlanta. Two, Julio Jones had to get out of town because, in my opinion, now Julio Jones is a Hall of Famer, right? Calvin Ridley is Julio Jones and explosive. And Russell Gage, like you said, he was out last week. If he finds his groove, and they got the young Kyle Pitts in, we just talked about them having inexperienced linebackers. Every single position that Washington struggled against, Atlanta has an elite or well above average talent at that position. And if you give if they can't get pressure on Matt Ryan, I mean, I just honestly don't see how they can possibly win this game. Now, granted, I think the key to the game, and this might sound, gee whiz, but we're talking about a team that's supposed to have been expected to be one of the best defenses in the NFL, period. And Chase Young, they had 0 sacks last week on how many dropbacks? 44?
Mm-hmm.
If the defense can generate pressure on Matt Ryan, that's going to tell the story of the game. If they can do that, they can win the game. And it sounds simple. It sounds like, well, anybody that watches football can say that, but it's kind of a different context speaking about Washington with all of the talent they got. They've been building for 5 years to have this defensive front. They can rotate in and out, speed all over the place. Problem is, like we said a minute ago, if Del Rio or somebody, if they don't get more creative or they don't figure out a way to generate pressure, Matt Ryan can pick them apart. And I honestly can see Calvin Ridley having a 150-yard game, like one of those 150-yard, 2-touchdown games. If it ends up, if the defense struggles like last week or yesterday, because Atlanta's kind of a sneaky team, man. They might got some struggles on defense, but their offense, man, they have some playmakers. They damn sure got more playmakers than we do. And if it comes out to a shootout, Washington's not winning that. Period.
Yeah, that's no doubt, especially the offense has been as inconsistent as it's been, even though they have been improving with Heineke under center. It's too much to ask for them to come back from a large deficit. We saw them fight back yesterday and get 14, to answer it when they went down 21-0. But yeah, they can't continue to do that. That's why I said, getting off to a fast start is definitely key for this team to be successful. If you was watching my Facebook feed, okay, look like we're back up. Yeah, I don't know what's been going on. This latest update has been, ever since I did it, I've been having some issues. But with Atlanta, I'm going to talk more about it in the pregame, the day of the game. But any team is, any given Sunday they can win. This team just has to improve. If I think it's a catch-22. The front four isn't getting enough pressure, and in the secondary they're having too many open receivers and too many miscommunications, too many blown coverages. So it's like an avalanche. It started out small and now it's getting worse. As they mentioned during the broadcast, they were making simple mistakes on offense and snapping the ball when the man in motion. That the ball hit the man coming across, but he didn't time the snap count right. I mean, it's like
I don't mean to interrupt you, Carol, but real quick, I just wanted to kind of like agree with what you were saying. Like, the good thing is, like I said at the beginning of the show, that I feel a little more optimistic. So, like, I don't think this team is as bad as people think, as they look, because the good thing is blown coverages and miscommunications, you can fix that. Lack of talent, you can't fix that. They have talent, so that's all. I just kind of wanted to second what you were saying a minute ago about blown coverages and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's just communication and folks not being on the same page. But they got to look, like Jay said, they got to look themselves in the mirror and figure out what they need to do to get back to the defense that they know they can be. So it's just going to come down to a better game plan by both coordinators. Like I said, it kind of disheartened me to hear Coach Rivera say that, he didn't have issue with the play calls on either side. I don't definitely don't agree with that, but he's the coach, and it is what it is. But yeah, it's a head scratcher at this point. I had them, like I said, I had the optimistic view. I was having a 3-1 in the first four. I had Buffalo as the only loss, and see if we can salvage and make it 2-2 instead of 1-3. Because they go 1-3 with the upcoming schedule. We might as well.
If they gave up 95 rushing yards to Daniel Jones, I mean, we got Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I'm like, damn. So I just, it's just, we'll see, man. I honestly thought they was gonna pull this game out. And like you, Carl, I did the pick 'em. I picked Washington. I did the homer move, and it didn't pay off. So I don't know, man. We'll see. All I can do is hope for the best, but they got to fix those mismatches. And just one more thing, living in Charlotte for the last 8 years, I will say this about Ron Rivera. He is notorious down here for being the most boring and least information given coach in interviews. He never throws his guys under the bus, ever. Now, there have been a lot of rumors from the locker room that leak out. Sometimes stuff leaks out about how in the locker room now it's a different ball game. But one thing about Ron, just living in Charlotte for 8 years, watching him, he will never give you anything in a press conference, ever.
I feel you. He, I don't know, just need to get it figured out. If you're watching the Nats game, I'm still interested. The Nats had the bases loaded. In the top of the fourth, they just got a RBI double. And when they walked in the run, Escobar scored to make it for 1-0. Just got an RBI double and two-man scored, and Ruiz was trying to stretch it to a triple and unfortunately got thrown out. But still got 2 on with 2 outs, 3-0, top of the fourth. And I guess we go ahead and use that as a segue in the Nationals talk because it's pretty much nothing else to talk about with that Washington football team lost yesterday. I'll be doing a pregame before the game on Sunday, giving my keys of victory and my thought process on the game after injuries and inactives and all of that good stuff. And I have the post game after, as always. But let's go ahead and get into Nationals talk. Like I said, looked like they didn't get another hit, so it's 3-0 going into the bottom of the fourth. And the Nationals, as I said, it's the last week of the regular season. The Nationals are currently sitting 64-92. Last week they won 3 out of 7. They won 2 out of 3 versus the Marlins and lost 3 out of 4 to the Reds, who are in playoff contention. Yeah, it's just pretty much nothing to say about the Nats after they traded everyone in the trade deadline. We pretty much knew what it was, rebuilding time, but still got Juan Soto. I know Arun definitely wants to talk about some of the historic things that he's doing at the plate and trying to be a back-to-back batting title for the National League. Let me go ahead and get into the first series, and I'll give Arun's input on Soto, things he want to talk about. He was definitely Arun is a wealth of sports knowledge and information, so I can't wait to hear what he has to say about Soto. I love him, but I don't have all the stats and stuff like Arun does. As I mentioned, they won 2 out of 3 versus the Marlins. The first game of the series was an 8-7 loss. Dylan Floro earned the victory for Miami. That put him at 6-6. He went 1 inning, giving up 1 hit, no runs, with no strikeouts and no walks. Sam Clay took the loss. That dropped him to 0-5. He went no innings, giving up no hits, 1 run, no strikeouts and no walks. This was actually, lost on a wild pitch in the top of the 11th, which Clay threw. They had the man on second, the man advanced, wild pitch, game over, walk off. It wasn't walk off. Lane Thomas went 2 for 5 with a solo home run. Luis Garcia went 2 for 5 with an RBI double. And Ebert Ruiz, catcher, went 3 for 5 with 2 2-run RBI singles. The second game of the series was a 7-1 win. Josh Rogers earned his second victory of the season. He went 7 2/3, giving up 5 hits, 1 run, 4 strikeouts, and 2 walks. Trevor Rogers took the loss. That dropped him to 7-8. He went 5 1/3, giving up 4 hits, 4 runs, 1 of those earned, but 10 strikeouts and 2 walks. Juan Soto went 2 for 4 with an RBI double. Ruiz went 2 for 5 with an RBI single, and Garcia went 2 for 4 with an RBI single. The last game of the series, the Nationals won that one 7-5. Josiah Gray earned his first victory as a major league pitcher. That put him at 1-2. He went 6 innings, giving up 6 hits, 2 runs, with 8 strikeouts and 1 walk. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his first name, but last name Hernandez for Miami. When took the loss, that dropped him to 1-3. He went 4 innings, giving up 7 hits, 4 runs, with 7 strikeouts and 2 walks. And Tanner Rainey earned his second save of the season. He went 2/3 of an inning, giving up no hits, no runs, with no walks and no strikeouts. Juan Soto went 3 for 3 with a 2-run home run, was on base 5 times with 2 walks also. Luis Garcia had a solo home run and went 2 for 5. And Yadier Hernandez went 2 for 5 with the RBI double. As I mentioned, they won 2 out of 3 against Miami series before. They lost 2 out of 3, so if they would have redeemed themselves, they should have got the sweep for that wild pitch in the 11th. They gave them the lead late in that one, but, they're basically fighting for the bottom of the division, and that's currently a half a game behind the Marlins for the worst record in the NL East. Room, what did you check out any of the series, and what do you think is in store for this team coming up next year?
Yeah, the first game was kind of disappointing, but then Martinez, I guess he got thrown out of the game, arguing that Bell was, whether it was inside or outside, the batting Pat Buffetti wasn't that good, and the bullpen wasn't good either, so they ended up losing that game. But then the next game was much better. They responded with a win. Soto and Ruiz with both multi-hits. Josh Rogers with a good pitching performance. Next game, Soto really takes over with 3 hits, and as you mentioned, Gray gets the win, his first career win. And overall, then the next game, Corbin for once had a solid pitching performance. Soto hits multi-homers for the 11th time, so Soto really took over towards the end of the series and against the Marlins that they should beat. And it was nice to see Soto making his case for MVP at the end of this year.
Yeah, unfortunately, on the losing team, it's very rare to get an MVP, unfortunately. But he's definitely been doing a damn thing, and that's why I'm not really worried about his team rebuilding because they already got a nice foundation with him to build around. Paul, did you check out any of this series against the Marlins? And what do you? I know you're a baseball guy too. What do you see from this team and going forward?
Yeah, I didn't get to check out the Marlins series, but I'm optimistic. Usually I'm Mr. Negative. But one thing I feel like, Carol, is we got a history about whenever me and you are optimistic about things or don't look negatively on things. Remember the year they won the World Series, right?
Yep.
And they were struggling, and everybody was panicking. And me and you said on Sports on the Hill, "Don't worry, I think they're gonna be okay." And they did. Now, granted, obviously they can't make the World Series now this year, but the thing is this, right? We sat through 100 lost seasons, and so they can build this farm club, and they built this team up over the course of 9 years, right? We got that World Series. We should have. If you ask me, we should have got at least three World Series out of them teams. Just think about the future when somebody looks back on the year when they had Strasburg, Rendon, Scherzer, Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, Trey Turner, and all those guys on one team. How the hell didn't they make the playoffs, right? But it was time for them guys to make trades. Trey Turner wasn't going to come back for what they offered, and they had to trade him. Now I'm a little late on this topic, obviously, because this happened months ago. I love Max, but Max understands it's a business, and Max is getting old. We owed him a lot of money still, too. Trey Turner wasn't going to come back for that much money. He probably wants $350 million, $400 million, whatever. Juan Soto's probably going to end up being the most valuable baseball player of all time. I wish they could have did a Fernando Tatis deal with him, but that's kind of, taking advantage of him. So, I feel a little bit guilty locking him into a deal that in 4 years is going to be vastly outdated and he's going to be on the cheap. But I'm happy that they're in a kind of a rebuild mode. But the prospects we got back are getting their rep. Now, Keyboom has been a project for a while now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he get LASIK surgery?
I don't know. I'm done with Kai Boone because he's cost his team some games that I watched by him running the bases wrong or making a bad play at third or overthrowing the ball. I'm done with the Carter Kai Boone experiment.
Yeah, I'm a little irritated. I feel like if he didn't get LASIK, I hope he did. I'm trying to figure out if that's something that I was hoping he did, like what was it? Who was it? Carlos Rogers that did that after they left Washington, so that they can catch again. But we finally got a young catcher that to me looks like he has a hell of a lot of potential. And you got to excuse me because they're still new. I'm not remembering all their names, but I like Gray. I really do like Gray as a nice young future starting pitcher. I'm kind of disappointed though. The thing that disappointed me the most this season was I wanted to see Joe Ross in his second year back from his surgery. Because remember, when he first was starting, he had some nasty stuff. But he don't seem to be back yet. And the other thing, Carl, I took a lot of heat for this year after year. And I've been saying it. Now, I was wrong when I said it before they won the World Series. But I said it after they won the World Series. I said they need to trade Steven Strasburg now for a lot of prospects while he's hot because the man will never play a full season, and I don't think he has many more years left in him. They didn't. He's hurt again. His stock is way down. If he comes back next year, his stock is going to be down because unless he has a miraculous recovery. I've been feeling like they should. I felt as though just like they let Rendon go after that World Series because he wanted too much money. Rightfully so. Make your money. I'm never mad at somebody making their money. I felt like last season, even though it was shortened by COVID, obviously, I felt like last year should have been the year when they should have made the move that they made this year. They should have traded Strasburg last offseason. I truly believe that. Now, that being said, they still got him. And he's still an elite top pitcher. Now, he can recover and, end up with a Cy Young next year. Who knows? But I feel like they freed up some money. They're getting younger. They needed to get younger. I like the prospect. We need a lot more, obviously. I think we got about 2 more years of being near the basement, especially with this NL East now. With the Braves, even though they kind of disappointed somewhat early on the season, the Mets really let down. I don't know what happened there. Phillies, they're the Phillies. But I'm optimistic. I kind of like baseball because, as opposed to football, that's why I like baseball more now because it takes time. Football, well, at least in Washington, we act like we're the Patriots. Our generation remembers the '80s too much, where we feel like we're supposed to be in the playoffs or Super Bowl every year. Baseball, we understand it takes time. Build your farm system, unless you want to be like the Yankees, go over the luxury tax. Obviously, Nationals can't do that because of the broadcasting deal. They lose a lot of money. They can't do that. But I feel good about the team going forward, man. I feel like going into next year, we'll see some development. They'll probably make some good off-season moves in free agency. I don't know who's available just yet. I haven't researched that. But I'm going to say one more thing. The man that they continue to avoid to get, that they've had at least 3 chances to get, Aroldis Chapman. I feel like now it's too late. If he ends up becoming available, it's like don't even waste your time. The dude been pitching 106 miles an hour for 7 years now. I feel like he'll throw his arm out if we can get him away from the Yankees. But that's just kind of a side note. But I'm happy, man. I kind of feel like hey, they was due. We got a World Series out of it. If somebody told us Washington could win a Super Bowl, 3 years ago, if they ended up, I don't know, 5-12, 5-11, 5-12 this year, 17. I'd say shit. I'd take that. We got a Super Bowl. So I'm not mad.
Yeah, I don't agree on the Strasburg thing because he rounded in the form of that playoff run. They were hoping that the light had clicked on and he could be the team's next Max Scherzer, and ride out a career and turn into that dominant pitcher. Unfortunately, the neck injury, they already knew with his throwing motion that he was going to, have some issues. He changed his throwing motion.
Before he even came in the league.
Yeah, so he changed his throwing motion. That's why he throws from the stretch now. He doesn't, he always throws from the stretch no matter if it's a man on or not. Change some of the motion in it. And, he had a neck issue. Hopefully, he get back right, come back next year, and, like I said, get back on track. But, yeah, they had to rebuild. You can't be on top all the time. They won a division, 3 out of 5 years, made the playoffs. They finally got the championship. So now you got to, they didn't have the arsenal, like you say, with the money to, have a dynasty and have a team together for years and years and, go on runs. They had to learn how to become a champion, and they did that under Davey. And, this is only his, 3rd full year of being a manager. So he had some learning to do because he was given a team with, great talent, youth, and veteran. And now he's having to build a team and teach these inexperienced guys the things that the experienced guys had when he got there. So he's cutting his teeth being a manager too. So it's going to take, they're going to have some rough patches. But like you say, in about a year or two, they're going to be back to where we were used to seeing them in the last few years. And let's go ahead and wrap up this Cincinnati Reds series. As I mentioned, they lost 3 out of 4. The Reds, as I mentioned, are fighting for play on their playoff lives. The lone victory for the Nats was the first game of the series, a 3-2 win. Patrick Corbin, as the room said, had a promising start. We've seen him implode many times. He went that made him 9-15 for the season with that victory. He went 6 2/3, giving 4 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts, and 4 walks. Luis Castillo took the loss. That dropped him to 8-16. He went 6 innings, giving up 6 hits, 2 runs, 6 strikeouts, and 2 walks. Kyle Finnegan earned his 11th save of the season. That he went 1 inning, giving up 2 hits, 2 runs, with 1 strikeout and no walks. Juan Soto went 3 for 3 again with 2 walks, had 2 solo home runs. He was on base for 10 straight plate appearances with his great OPS. And he's, like I said, fighting for the division title for the batting. But hopefully he can win it again because he won it last year, went back to back. It shows his discipline at the plate and everything. Great eye. Yeah, like I said, with him on the team, I'm not really worried. And also, Josh Bell went 2 for 3 with the RBI single in that game. The second game was 8-7 loss. It went extra innings in the 11th. Art Warren got the victory that put him at 3-0. He went 1 inning, giving him no hits, no runs, with 2 strikeouts and a walk. Mark Thompson, I believe. I can't read my handwriting. He took the loss. That dropped him to 1-2. He didn't get an out. He gave up 1 hit, 1 run, with no strikeouts and no walks. As I mentioned, it's an extra inning game. Man on second. Josh Bell went 1 for 4 with an RBI double. Ruiz went 3 for 5 with an RBI single and a solo home run. And Escobar went 2 for 6 with the RBI double and a solo home run. The third game of the series was a 7-6 loss. Michael Givens earned the victory. That put him at 4-3. He went 1 inning, giving him no hits, no runs, with no strikeouts and no walks. Patrick Murphy took the loss. That dropped him to 0-3. He went an inning in the third, giving up 1 hit, 1 run, 2 strikeouts and no walks. I'm sorry. Lane Thomas went 2 for 5 with a solo home run. Ruiz went 1 for 4 with a solo home run. And Josh Bell went 2 for 5 with the RBI single. And the last game of the series was an ugly 9-2 loss. Tyler Mack earned the victory. That put him at 13-6. He went 6 innings, giving up 3 hits, 1 run, wasn't earned, 6 strikeouts and 2 walks. Josh Rogers took the loss. He went 4 2/3, giving up 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 strikeouts, and 4 walks. He went 4 2/3. There really were no offensive highlights of this game that they talk about. Next up, as I mentioned, they're playing a game in Colorado. They're still up 3-0. Top of the 5th with a man on second. 2-0 pitch with no man out. The Nats are looking to add to it. They have a 3-game series with Colorado. Tonight was an 8 o'clock start. Tomorrow's an 8:40 start. I'm sorry. And Wednesday is a 3:10 start. Then they are home for the last series of the season against the Boston Red Sox. Friday is a 7 o'clock start. Saturday is a 4 o'clock start. Sunday is a 3 o'clock start.
I tell you what, bro. If are they playing in Colorado this series in Colorado?
Yeah, they're in Colorado. Yep.
I tell y'all one thing. That's the park that if Juan Soto want to solidify MVP and get his batting title, that's the park to do it in.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
balls fly out of that place like crazy.
Yeah, it looked like he'll get a chance at bat with a man on, because he's in the on deck circle. So we'll see what Mr. Soto can do to add to it. Because like I said, he's been on a great run. He's leading the NL in batting average, and like I said, I know he would love to win it back to back. So out of this last week of action, what do you anticipate for the Nats to do with these last 6 games of the season, Paul?
I feel like maybe if we're lucky, an even split, 3-3. I don't follow the Red Sox as much. I don't follow the AL as much. So I don't know exactly where they stand. Here's the thing. Whenever the Nationals end up being out of it, I kind of stop looking at potential contenders in the World Series. Because, look, we had a team where every year they were favored to go to the World Series for a long time. So I used to know a lot about the American League, a lot. So I can't really speak surely about what's going to happen with the Red Sox series. So I'm just going to play it safe and say an even split, 3-3.
All right. We got Juan Soto at the plate. Got first and third, no outs. We're going to see what Mr. Soto
So he got
does.
that.
Yeah, first pitch is outside, 1-0. Yeah, Juan, in the room while we were watching this, why don't you break down some of the info you had on Juan Soto? I know you said you wanted to speak on this fantastic young man.
Yeah, like through those plate appearances, those 12 plate appearances, he had a home run, single, 2 walks, single, walk, another home run, 2 doubles, and a couple more walks. Pretty crazy that he got on base all those times in a row.
Damn.
Yeah, his batting eye is ridiculous for him to be so young and to be so disciplined at the plate and know the strike zone. You don't get that combination in a young kid like that, and that's all they talk about on MLB Network is his eye. And with him
Yeah,
being
he's the
so
only
young,
player with more walks, 124 than strikeouts, 83 this season. So that's pretty
nice.
ridiculous.
He
I mean, that's some Barry Bonds. I'm not saying he'll hit 70-something home runs, but the amount of walks and also the ability to still hit it off the park and still get on base with, still knock in runs too, it's astounding. I mean, it's almost like either you get in a walk or you strike out or you get a home run. I mean, this dude does it all. If they don't walk him, like Carol said, first and third, he's the type that'll end up knocking 2 in just because he knows, okay, I'm gonna hit it in the gap, knock 2 in. I mean, that guy's incredible.
well, he ended up knocking in one on the fielder's choice. So it's actually 4-0 now with a man on first. He ran out the hit and got the fielder's choice. Escobar was out at second. Josh Bell's at the plate right now with Soto on first. 1-0 count with 1 out. Room, what do you think this team is going to do with this last week of the season? Think they're going to split, or they might actually win the last week of the season?
Yeah, it'll be interesting, especially that last series against the Red Sox, because they're fighting for a playoff spot with Brian's Yankees. So I don't know how I feel about the Nats helping the Yankees, but we'll see how that goes. And I think if the Red Sox lose, that just might say more about them choking away their playoff lead, because they just lost a couple games to the Yankees in dramatic fashion. So I would say normally a 3-3 week, but you never know. It could be a more positive week for the Nationals, but that just be because the Red Sox are not playing up to their potential.
Well, I like Brian, and I would love to have heard what he thinks. Because we all know Brian and his Yankees, so I never thought I'd say it, but for his sake, I'd like to see the Yankees get on in there and the Red Sox just stay home. So, I like Brian, but Brian and his Yankees, boy, you can't say nothing about those Yankees.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride for him with the Yankees this year, with all the New York teams this year. So after that Giants game, he was a little upset. So yeah,
he's feeling a little sick. I saw he said today. So hope he feels better too.
Yeah. That's one reason why not on that say he wasn't feeling well, but that's why we have a great team. You got a room, you got you, filling in. Appreciate it. Arun, let the folks have in. Paul gonna talk a little boxing. Do you want to stick around? Or do you want to go ahead and cut out? Because I appreciate you taking the time out to come on tonight.
I'll cut out. I'm not the boxing expert that Paul is. I'll listen on, but I'll definitely leave the Zoom. But thanks for having me on. You can find me on the Hey Aaron podcast. I'll try to get some more episodes out there. Been talking more about fantasy football lately. Hopefully, I can get everyone. Maybe I'll get a listener question segment for people who need advice. Thanks for having me on, Carol.
All right, sounds good. We might gotta have a fantasy football corner on the pregame. I might gotta hit you up on Sunday, do a little fantasy
I'm hitting you
football
up too
before the
then
game.
because I need some help.
Hey man, I gotta come back. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about this. I'm just throw this week away, man. I don't even want to talk about this week and pick them off for fantasy. But
waiver wire week, that's what it is.
I don't even know, man. But all right, everyone, I'll let you get out of here, man. I appreciate you taking the time, and catch you next week if you're available.
Sure, thanks for having me on.
All right, man, take it easy. All right, we got me and Paul, the boxing guy. So, Paul, what's been going on in the boxing world lately?
Man, I don't shy away when I'm. Okay, let me start over. All right. I brag about my accuracy in ticket fights. I always face the music when I'm wrong. But then again, I guarantee you I'll say about 88% of people was wrong with the Joshua Usyk fight. But I'm going to start before that. I was a little upset. I don't know if we talked about this. I'm thankful now that they found the issue with Errol Spence's eye before he fought Pacquiao, but I was disappointed that we didn't see that fight. Pacquiao ended up fighting Ugas, who was way underrated. I don't know why people thought that he was going to be some pushover. And he beat the brakes off Pacquiao. Pacquiao now is retired. He said he's running for president of the Philippines next year, and I'm like, I would too. Why would I stand in there? He's older than me. I don't even like getting out of the bed without cussing and cracking my knuckles and, being sore. So I'm damn sure not fighting some 20-something-year-old in the prime of their life. So, we saw him take down Pacquiao. But, we saw Canelo showing his hands. I don't know why these people keep hating on Canelo. He's fighting Caleb Plant. And Caleb Plant, he's another good fighter, just like Billy Joe Saunders, just like, I forget his name now. All the guys in England, he's fighting real big dudes. Canelo has fought everybody from 147 to light heavyweight. I feel like if the dude wanted to, he could fight Anthony Joshua. He's like, why not? But they had a little face-off at the press conference. And Canelo don't talk a lot of trash. I think there was a language misunderstanding because Canelo pushed Caleb Plant. And when Caleb Plant came back and threw a punch, Canelo being Canelo, this man had on, how them Caribbean dudes dress, right? He had on some white, tight slacks, bright yellow tucked-in polo shirt, and some little, loafers or something. Caleb Plant threw the punch. Canelo pulled back and hit him with a two-piece so quick that people thought that he didn't land a punch. I had to remind somebody, I said, did you notice before Canelo threw that punch, Plant had on sunglasses? He didn't have on sunglasses after that punch, and he had a cut. So Canelo hit him with a quick two-piece in loafers. So Canelo about that business. So they're going to fight in a few weeks. I'm looking forward to that. But I think the language issue was, so Canelo said that he talked about his mother. And that, because Canelo don't really act like that. But here's the problem. Caleb Plant said I didn't do that, and I wouldn't do that. And I know this about him because I remember when it happened. Caleb Plant said my mother got killed by the police. I would never do that. And this happened only about 2 or 3 years ago. What I think happened was I think he might have called Canelo bring it, motherfucker, something like that. And Canelo maybe misunderstood it because, he's not really a good English speaker. And he might have misinterpreted it because I really don't buy Caleb Plant talking about his mom, especially when his mom, and this was big news, she got killed by the police. I don't think that he would do that. But regardless, Caleb Plant left with a cut. And he now, I feel like Canelo already won the fight. He should get 2 wins if he beat him in the ring.
And the press conference.
Yeah, give him the win. But let's go to the it's 2 more fights coming up. I got a lot to say, but I'm gonna try to condense it because I ran. My man Anthony Joshua, I predicted him to beat Alexander Usyk. Now, let me tell you something about Alexander Usyk. Y'all heard me talk about Lomachenko on this show a lot. Usyk and Lomachenko are good friends. They both won gold medals in the Olympics. Actually, Usyk and Joshua won gold medals in the Olympics in the same year. Usyk is a small guy. He came up from cruiserweight, so he beat literally the shit out of everybody at cruiserweight. He had all 4 world titles at cruiserweight. Joshua had 3 of the world titles at heavyweight, and we know that Fury has the 4th, the WBC at heavyweight. So Usyk is a smaller guy, sort of like when Holyfield moved up to heavyweight. His first 2 fights at heavyweight weren't very impressive, but he won. People were concerned he didn't have the power. But let me tell you something about this dude. This dude got the boxing skills. One thing that you have heard me say repeatedly, Carl, about Anthony Joshua, besides the fact that he had too much muscle, was that his trainer should have been fired a long time ago. His trainer has trained him basic boxing skills, right? And Joshua, I give him credit. So here's the problem. He was supposed to fight Tyson Fury in August. Tyson Fury was secretly still negotiating with Deontay Wilder for a trilogy. They had the date set. Joshua put on a bunch of muscle because he wanted to be able to, Fury's 6'8". He wanted to be able to kind of have some weight behind him against Fury. Well, Fury cancels the fight. Joshua has to find a new opponent. Alexander Usyk comes up. when he looked at him as a fill-in, just like when he looked at Ruiz as a fill-in last year when his fight got canceled. I remember I said before the Ruiz fight, I said, don't sleep on Ruiz. That man got hands, and Joshua got a weakness on the inside with shorter fights. Well, Usyk the same way, but here's the difference between Usyk and Ruiz. Usyk was already ranked in the pound-for-pound top 10 list. Usyk was the number one ranked heavyweight contender for every single belt except for the WBC because Deontay Wilder is that number one contender. Joshua needs to realize, and I think the people criticizing him and getting him, Joshua has the best resume out of all the heavyweights, right? But because he don't talk a lot, people love to say Fury, Wilder, Joshua ain't fought nobody. When in actuality, the only people that Fury and Wilder beat or fought are each other. Them two dudes ain't fought nobody. Think about this. Tyson Fury has been heavyweight champion twice, and he has never defended his belt. Ever. Think about that stat. So I'm kind of hoping, believe it or not, that Wilder knocked the shit out of him this time. Now, I don't like how Wilder did his trainer, long-time trainer, but I hope Wilder knocks out Fury for what he did to Joshua, canceling that fight. But back to Joshua. So he took Usyk as a fight. I'm already looking at it like, I don't know, man. Like, I think it's been getting to him because people say he ducks people, and even though he doesn't, people say that about Floyd. Here's the thing, Carl, and I think you can understand this. If you are the undisputed champion, I don't owe you shit. You come to me. Joshua's undisputed champ, but yet he was the opposite of Floyd, where anybody that wanted to come for him, no matter how good they were and how unnecessary the risk was, he took it anyway. And this is what happened with Usyk. You take this man that is a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter as a replacement. He came down and lost. I think he lost 40 pounds this weight camp, and he looked slim. He don't look like he got confidence behind his power anymore. Usyk was able. He's a southpaw. He was setting traps. Joshua didn't know what to do. He didn't make adjustments. One thing I saw Usyk kept doing was jabbing Joshua's right hand away to open up that guard so he can bring that hand back and block it and then come back with a counter left. He's southpaw. Joshua started to kind of pick it up a little bit mid-round, started hitting him in that body and kind of wore him down. But the things were Joshua, with his trainer McCracken, does not make adjustments. He doesn't know how to work behind his jab. He doesn't have confidence in his power no more because of what happened after the Ruiz fight. He seems like he's fighting tentatively now. And if you look at the pictures of the fighters after the fight, you would think that Joshua won the damn fight. Now, the scorecard, even though he put on a clinic, the scorecards make the fight seem like it wasn't as close as it was. Joshua had his moment. But the problem is Joshua can't adjust. I mean, Usyk was going left, right, just circling him, getting inside, taking advantage of working that inside. And Joshua had no answer. He couldn't land that uppercut he depends on. He seemed hesitant to throw punches. He didn't lean on him. I mean, Usyk is probably 6'1", 6'2". Man, you 6'7", like Lennox Lewis used to do. Put that weight down on you in the flint. He didn't do that. I think that's a training thing. So I'm looking forward to the rematch. Hopefully Joshua can get his belt back. If not, Usyk has a chance to do one of the greatest accomplishments in heavyweight history if he beats Joshua again and then ends up fighting the winner of the Fury Wilder 3 fight and gets all 4 belts. So I'm looking forward to that. And we've already talked about Wilder Fury 3. That's coming up in a few weeks. I'm going for Wilder, believe it or not. I don't think he's going to win, but I'm going for him. But the one fight, Carl, I'm on record for saying this now. I'm on record for saying this is my hot take. You ready for this one?
All right.
November, Bud Crawford fights Sean Porter, right? This is the first real name he fought at welterweight. The first real name he's fought at welterweight now. He ain't fought Keith Thurman and Errol Spence and Sean Porter and Daniel Garcia and all these other guys yet. I'm not going to front. I like Sean Porter, right? Oh, well, he beat Kell Brooks, but Kell Brooks washed up. My hot take is this. I think Sean Porter is going to upset Bud. I think Sean Porter is going to beat Terrence Crawford. And I think it's going to be one of those fights where people are going to be stunned when they see how what's the word I'm looking for? How uncomfortable Terrence Crawford is going to end up looking. I like Bud. Again, people think I don't like Bud. I like Bud. But here's the thing about Sean Porter. If you look at his fight, he looks messy, but he is a 100% 12 rounds of constant pressure. He makes you fight his fight. His strategy is to make you uncomfortable. And the one thing about Bud is he's susceptible to taking unnecessary shots. And the one person, to me, out of all the welterweights besides Errol Spence, you know, Errol Spence, my guy, out of all of the welterweights besides Errol Spence that I think could beat Terrence Crawford, is Sean Porter. Ugas, as good as he is, I think Bud beats him. But I'm really thinking, if I could bet in North Carolina, I might have to drive up to the Virginia border to place a bet at MGM Bet. I think Sean Porter gonna win that fight, man. So book it. You can book it. If I'm wrong, I come back on, and then I'll fess up. But that's all that's kind of going on. That's going on in the near future right now. So you know, it's a couple things.
Hey man, sounds interesting. Can't wait. I might got to start placing bets. You do have a very high percentage of being right. So I'm a Bud Crawford fan. You know, we're going to see. You know, he hasn't. You know, we talked about his promoter and him not fighting enough, and you know, doing the right things because it's promotion and all of that good stuff. So like you said, Sean Porter's definitely going to put that work in, and we're going to see what Crawford does. You know, I've been a fan of his since he won the belt on, I believe it was HBO. So I was a fan of his fighting style and his dominance in the ring. Excuse me, but yeah, we're gonna see what happens. And by then, I should probably have my new setup where I'll be having all the boxing. I had the zone and everything, so I'll be able to check out all the fights also. So yeah, I'll be able to.
Well, I mean, I like Bud, but it's like the thing about Sean Porter is it's not pretty. So people he's not an entertaining fighter to watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he smothers you, man. And one thing that Bud Crawford needs is faith. Because for him to be such a light guy, he does have a hell of a reach, and he has a good. His strength is maintaining distance.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to stay in range. But the one thing Sean Porter, and I have yet to find one fighter that has prevented Sean Porter from doing this outside of Kell Brook, is Sean Porter will never allow you an inch of room to be comfortable. And Terrence Crawford gonna have his hands full, man. If he wins, he gonna leave with some scars because I really do think that's gonna be a real slugfest. I give Sean Porter the edge on that one though. Just mainly because he's naturally bigger too.
All right. We'll definitely be on the lookout for that fight coming up in November. So let the folks know what you got going on, where they can find you at, Paul.
Hey man, you can find me on Instagram, P from Charlotte, all one word. Instagram, pugilist_HQ. I post most of the major stuff on there. I don't post as much of the kind of other, lesser known stuff, fighters on there, because I got a lot of fighters that I watch that most people don't know. So you can follow me on Instagram at P from Charlotte, or you can follow me on Instagram at pugilist_HQ, PUGILIST_HQ.
All right. Appreciate as always you taking the time out to bless us with your boxing knowledge and insight. As always, you can check us out every Monday night, Sports on the Hill podcast. True Radio Network, streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I'm working on getting the IG feed up, running like we do on At the Bar Radio. You can check out all of the content on sportsothp.com. You can check out the YouTube channel, Carol Porter III with 3 eyes. Just changed up the link and everything, so you just got to do YouTube/Carol Porter III. Take you right to my page. Check us out. Like I said, I'll do my pregame show before the game on Sunday, post-game show At the Bar Radio at 6 o'clock Sunday night, just about every Sunday. Be on the lookout October 9th out in Martinsburg, West Virginia. Renegade will be opening up for Tory Lanez out there, and we will be in the building at the Bar Radio 151 Renegade. So I missed the live performances down in Miami because I was working, but I already told my boss, I need to leave early on Saturday because, I got to check out this live performance out there in West Virginia. So I got a new video to play from their time down in Miami when Renegade was down there performing. And, Got to throw some Renegade in there and a couple of my favorites. It depends on the change up some of the music soon once I get a chance to upload some new videos. But as always, appreciate y'all checking us out. DC Sports about the politics. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a motto. It's what we do. Appreciate y'all checking us out. See you next week. We out.
I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up this man. She all in the feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital dash. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up this man. She all in the feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital dash. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. But I dish it like I give it and go. Counting money while I chill at the stove. How I deliver, I've been at the dough. It's up to you how business will go. That 36 I get for the look. Count it up, no feelings will show. Spend so much, gotta get it some more. When they hands out, I just give it with no. How they always talking about me, but a nigga stand out. Watch out how you really walk up to me, that's a man down. All these niggas got these drums with them like a band now. I've been doing what I want, that's what you can't doubt. I've been just feeling myself. Do I just really need help? I got my weight up. I be just telling myself I got love for all of my dogs. I take a pay cut. Some niggas really gon' ride. Some niggas really gon' slide. So go say a prayer. We ain't never gotta slap five. Nigga, just pay your tithes and call me the mayor. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up this man. She all in the feelings. She giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital dash. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up this man. She all in the feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital dash. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. Money, money, I love that money.
Lucas.
Money, 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 money. You don't really want to play. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. And you don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. It's money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't wanna be the one who always really talk about. And you don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Cause money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. Money, 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 make you shut him off. Don't never ever talk about it if you never had the clout. You don't know what to say, stay up out of my way. Cause money, 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 make you shut him off. Keep playing with these goonies, boy, I'm gonna have to make the call. Stay in bounds on your pivot, boy, if you gon' ball. Cause a lot of niggas be fake, and you really can't play. Cause we done got it out the mud, nigga, what you talking about? Screaming, oh my God, money got me pride. They living a lie, look into my eyes, they might seem surprised, this is homicide. We just multiply, we been on the rise. If we got some wings, fuck it, we gon' have to fly. Money, 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 what you talking about? Day in my life, I take me a different route. Use all my cash, niggas on my face. You can get it erased, what you talking about? money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. And you don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Cause money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't wanna be the one who always really talk about. And you don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Cause money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. You never crossing these borders. I'm whipping it up, Gordon Ramsay. I swear that I'm cooking these orders. You talk about me, you better just hope that you can just really afford it. I'm balling, I'm balling, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm feeling like Robert Tahori. Nigga, I'm scoring. I count in the morning. They talk about me, then I gotta ignore it. My bitches be foreign. So independent, my money be corporate. These rappers is boring. You hate me and I'm always gonna adore it. I'm smoking that soaring. She always go ahead, let me explore it. I call her my Dora. You can go and talk about me, I ain't flawless. I go put my all in. If a nigga talk about me, then I'm gone in. You know that I'm gone in. Jump in, take trips, Pompeii. All day, always keep 3 stacks like Andre. I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it, man. And you can never, ever, ever get rid of that. So watch what you say, and watch how you do. If you playing the game, then you play by the rules. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. And you don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Cause money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't wanna be the one who always really talk about. And you don't really want to play. You don't know what to say. Cause money, 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 money's what I'm talking about.
A few years ago, I told myself I'd be the next big thing in the industry. See, the game is simple. Life has its way to show us that anything is possible. The power of the tongue, which has the ability to be detrimental or beneficial. Was it beneficial? I'll leave that one up to y'all. This is my story from me to you.
You're listening to this song right now. I'm speaking specifically to you. I want to give you my testimony and tell you a little bit about myself, if you don't mind. Coming from nothing but a little struggle and pain. Crazy how we can all turn around for you and change. I done seen a lot of things in the street, wrong danger to me. Hustling with them niggas that was no good for me, but I never gave up. 10 toes prayed up, thinking about the nights when the opposition got sprayed up. Trying to see a sunny day, all I get is rainy days. Screaming free my dogs and the loved ones who ain't here today. Yeah, I miss you, wanna kiss you, wanna hug you and hold you, won't forget you. All my life I've been misunderstood, just a little nigga tryna get up out the hood. And this thing we call poverty, but that's all inside of me. Used to cry myself to sleep, but strong I gotta be. Now I'm on TV, I done made it out the street. Troubled child turned the streams to reality. See, I knew that I would get there all along. Listen to the words of the song. This is my story from me to you. All I wanna do is just give you my truth. All I really want, promise to keep this just between me and you. Just between me and you. And you can do anything. Just believe in your dreams will come true. Who would've thought that we would come up like we did? Running around on Upland Street, man. kid. They told us we was bad, always getting in some shit. Breaking windows from throwing rocks, but we was just being kids. And smoking at the park, coming in after dark. Rolling with them, thug niggas reckless with no heart. Sexing on them, hood rats addicted from the start. Trapping and catching cases, ghetto life is so hard. Coming from a broken home, left me all alone. Neglected as a child with nothing to call my own. But now that I'm good, now that I'm paid, I'm shining, everything is okay. This is my story from me to you. All I wanna do is just give you my truth. I'm giving you my truth, will you hear me? Promise to keep this just between me and you. Don't you tell nobody, no. And you can do anything, 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 anything. Just believe and get dreams will come true. So yeah, this is a to B conversation. And with great faith, you can see your way out of anything.
Can you hear me? I am calling now out your name, and now I know, I know, I know, I know, and I'm here, and you know it, it's all just the same, and I know it's gonna be disco. Take me to a place where everybody learns, where everybody sees, where everybody shows their love. I didn't think so. You know, that's why I always champagne for you or me. I really didn't think so. I take a promise, I give it some love, I make a wish upon a star. You know you gotta get it right. You know you gotta get it right. Ooh, every little thing counts now. Every little bitty thing. Can you hear me? I am calling now out your name, and now I know, I know, I know, I know, and I'm here, and you know it, it's all just the same, and I know it's gonna be disco. It'd be so cool just to celebrate all the love and all the hate that's going down. It's gotta stop, we've had enough. Why can't we just live together? Peace, love, and harmony is what this world needs forever. Can you hear me? I am calling now out your name, and now I know, I know, I know, I know. Can you hear me? I am calling out your name.